Miscommunication is a normal part of human interaction. People speak quickly, they speak emotionally, they speak without always choosing the right words. And yet, we often react as if every sentence was meant as a judgment of who we are. Psychology shows that taking things personally is rarely about what someone actually says, it's about the meaning we attach to it. When someone makes a comment, gives feedback, or reacts in a certain way, our mind doesn't stop at the facts. It immediately starts filling in the gaps. It asks questions like, what does this say about me? Did I do something wrong? Are they disappointed in me? And before we realize it, a simple interaction turns into an emotional experience. This is because the human mind is not just a receiver of information, it's an interpreter. We don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are. Every word we hear passes through layers of personal history, self image, past experiences, and emotional conditioning. That's why two people can hear the exact same comment and feel completely different about it. At the center of taking things personally is a story the mind creates to explain what just happened. Sometimes that story sounds like, I'm not good enough. They don't respect me. I always mess things up. But psychology reminds us of something important. A story is not the same as reality. Reality is what was actually said. The story is what we think it means. And most emotional pain comes not from reality, but from the story. The mind is very good at turning uncertainty into meaning. When we don't fully understand someone's intention, the brain fills in the blanks, often with assumptions shaped by insecurity or low self-esteem. This is why people who struggle with taking things personally often have a strong inner critic. Not because they are weak, but because their self-worth feels fragile. When self-worth is unstable, every comment feels like a threat. Psychology shows that people with low self-esteem are more likely to interpret neutral or ambiguous remarks as personal attacks. Not because others are harsher, but because the internal filter is harsher. Another important truth is this. Most people are not thinking about you nearly as much as you think. People speak from their own perspective, their stress, their responsibilities, their mood, their limitations. A critical comment at work is often about performance, deadlines, or pressure, not your value as a person. A short response from a friend may reflect exhaustion, not rejection. A lack of enthusiasm might say more about what someone is dealing with internally than about you. When we take things personally, we assume intent where there may be none. This is where learning to separate fact from interpretation becomes powerful. The fact is what happened. The interpretation is the meaning we attach to it. For example, the fact might be that someone gave feedback. The interpretation might be, I'm failing. The fact might be that someone didn't reply quickly. The interpretation might be, I'm not important. Psychological resilience grows when we pause between these two steps. Instead of immediately believing the story, we learn to question it. Is this definitely about me? Do I know their intention for certain? Am I reacting to the present moment or to past experiences? In many cases, the honest answer is, I don't know. And that's not a weakness. One of the most underrated emotional skills is becoming comfortable with not knowing. Not every situation requires interpretation. Not every comment requires meaning. Not every silence requires explanation. Mindfulness plays an important role here. Mindfulness doesn't mean stopping thoughts. It means noticing them without immediately identifying with them. You notice the thought, they don't respect me. But instead of believing it, you observe it. You recognize it as a mental reaction, not a fact. Over time, this creates space. And in that space, emotional reactions soften. This doesn't mean you'll never feel hurt again. You will. Taking things personally is human, especially when something touches an old wound. The goal isn't to become emotionally numb. The goal is to become emotionally flexible, to feel, without letting every feeling define you. As you practice separating reality from interpretation, something changes. You stop absorbing everything. You stop carrying what isn't yours. Other people's moods lose their grip on you. Their opinions feel lighter. Their words stop defining your worth. Because your sense of self becomes internal instead of reactive. At the end of the day, you can't control what others say, think, or feel, but you can choose how much power their words have over you. And that choice, and repeated gently over time, is how you stop taking things personally, not by hardening your heart, but by understanding your mind.